Welcome back guys, JC here, and today we will be taking a look at RMRC's new rifle motors. I do feel obligated to say that they did give me these to try out, and if you want a set of these for yourself, then keep watching till the end of this video because they will be giving away a free set. If there's any doubts that this may sway my opinion or review for these motors, then just go back and watch any of my other videos where you can see my personal builds and look and see what motors are on them. I've been using RMRC products long before I even had a YouTube channel. I guess you could say how Rotor Riot, those guys, they love the Luminaire products. Well, RMRC is my Luminaire. They also sent me this little sticker. They may have heard of the woman that lives above me that's called the cops on me quite a few times every time she hears a prop spin up. So this 55-year-old woman may have a new bumper sticker in the morning. I'm pretty sure to get a job there you have to have like 2 to 4 years in the comedian field. So what we have here is a 2206 motor in both 2300 and 2550 kV, rated from 2 to 4S. It's in the 12N 14P configuration, meaning you have 12 stators and 14 magnets. When you purchase these, they will come with the hardware needed to attach them to your frame, as well as 2 of the nylock nuts. The first few things you may notice right off the bat is it looks like half of the motor housing is missing, and also the bell on top is curved. Recently, many motor manufacturers have started designing their motors to increase airflow because, if you don't know, magnets do wear out, and what wears them out is heat. Heat will also reduce your power output. So obviously we want the most cooling possible, and that is why they have removed this bottom part. As the motor spins, these are going to catch the air and push it up, and with the air being pushed up, it's being sucked in through the bottom. With all the airflow going through the stators and coils, I believe that this has to be, at this point in time, the best design as far as cooling. I also noticed on the bottom side of the bell, if there's any mechanical engineers here, you know what the purpose of this is. The purpose of doing this is to remove as much weight as possible but retain that structural integrity. It's actually the first time I've seen this done, as a matter of fact, because if you look at the bottom sides of these bells, it's just solid aluminum. The other thing I inspect on my bells is how much balancing did it take to make it balanced. If we look on the inside of this motor, you see this stuff right here? That's not glue to hold the magnets in or anything like that. They add that to balance the bell. And the more you see, the more it took to balance it. So that means the more unbalanced it was after they manufactured it. And we see here, it's all over the place. On the rifle bell, there is very little. I'm actually having a hard time finding some. Alright, so right in between these two magnets, we have a tiny little bit right at the top. And underneath this magnet, on the very bottom of it, we have a little bit more. So this tells me that this motor was well balanced once it was manufactured and took very little balancing to make it balanced. Also, this comes with high quality N52 magnets. Not only that, but they are curved. The entire purpose of curving your magnets is, if they are curved, the closer they can be to the ends of the stators. The closer they are, the more power output you will get, and also the better the efficiency will be. It's going to be really hard for you guys to see, but you can see as the ends of the stators and the magnets, they're not lined up anymore. Like this one here, for example, you see that the distance between the two is extremely close, even if they're not lined up. One thing that caught my eye, and I could not figure out what it was for to save my life until I actually mounted these onto a frame, is going all the way around on all 4 of the above the motor bolt holes, you have this little bit of plastic. And there's no holes inside the plastic, so I couldn't figure out what they were for until I actually screwed a bolt in. And then I realized, if you've watched my video on how not to fry things, the very first thing I talk about, which is the most overlooked thing, is guys using bolts that are too long, and the bolts will actually come in contact with the coil windings. If that happens, then the motors are going to act funny, they're going to twitch randomly, and strange things are going to happen. Putting this plastic here, it's impossible. As you screw the bolt in, that plastic is coming in between the bolt and the coil winding, making it impossible to do that. The bells also have the hollow steel shaft. The purpose of this is because a hollow steel shaft is actually lighter than a solid aluminum shaft, kind of like these. Not only that, but these solid aluminum shafts are actually weaker than a hollow steel shaft. Not only is the top part of the shaft stronger, but the bottom part as well. And I don't mean just because it's steel, because these use steel as well. What I'm talking about is in the past, we've seen 3mm lower shafts. And then on this one, we've got 3mm. But what about the rifle motor? We get a 4mm shaft. On the bottom side, we get the screw that can easily be taken out to remove the bell from the motor itself, making replacing your bearings super simple. If you've watched my video on how to replace your bearings, you watched me use a special homemade tool to remove the C-clips or E-clips, and man, that is a pain. This is so much nicer. And finally, if we look at the top of the bell, we see these grooves. The point of that is to keep your propeller from spinning. It's going to kind of lock the propeller in. Not only that, but these nylock nuts have a wider surface area, which will also keep the propeller from slipping. So between the two, that's one problem you don't have to worry about. And that's going to do it for my first look at these motors. Now it's time for me to actually put them to the test. A lot of guys may want a thrust test. I don't have the equipment for that, but I also don't really care. If you watch other reviews where they do thrust tests, you may have noticed the pattern of the motors that produce the most power aren't always the most smooth motors or the most precise motors. So that is what I'm looking for in this test. I'm also testing for longevity and durability. Oh boy, where to begin? So it's been a week since what you just watched, and I have been putting these motors through hell. Just keep watching, you'll see what I'm talking about. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Good news is these motors are flat out awesome. I can't say they are the best motors because that's a matter of opinion. Also, I haven't tried every single motor out there, but what I can say is of all the motors I've ever tried, these are the best I've ever tried. More good news, I actually found a thrust test, so if you are looking for that, then look in the description below, I'll leave you a link to it. Bad news, that AUK 210 build that I just did and put these motors on, I flew into a pond and fried everything. Wow, this thing was completely submerged in water, flew it right into a pond. Good news, I lied, nothing fried. I don't know how, but if you watch the vlog that I just uploaded on my other personal channel, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And I got the idea from Fat Kid Joey from one of his videos. I'll leave you links to both of these videos in the description. But I guess that's quality ready-made RC parts for you. Bad news, when I crashed into the pond, I lost my GoPro session in the pond, never recovered it, and that's what I had all of my flight footage video from the past week on, so I lost all the flight footage. So instead, you guys are going to be getting flight footage that you were never meant to see. These were like the very first test of these motors. In fact, it was the very first flight of this entire build. So like I said, this is the very first time I've flown this build and these motors. The two trees in front of us, I have power looping down to a science. I've done it so many times. But watch what happens when I use the same amount of throttle for the same amount of time as I'm used to with my other builds using other motors. I overshot the hell out of those trees, and from there on out I give it less and less throttle, trying to get used to the motors. So you can tell by the sound of the motors, I am not holding the throttle down long at all. Not only that, but these are really cheap 2-blade 50/40 props. I'm using these because, like I said, you guys weren't even meant to see this footage. In this footage, keep your eye on the throttle position in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. This is with these Strix 5x4.2x3 blades. Great props, but you can see that I'm rarely going past 50% throttle. As far as durability, I have slammed these motors into concrete, trees, you name it. I even punctured a perfect hole through my niece's slide, which I do feel really bad about. And on top of everything, I even flew this entire build into a pond, completely submerged, and the motors just keep going. Like I said, check out my vlog video on my other channel. As far as smoothness, they're terrific, enough said. So let's wrap up this video with a giveaway. For a chance to win a free set of these motors, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment Big Guns. I'm also adding to the rules that you cannot comment twice, so if you do have a question, leave it in the same comment as your Big Guns comment, and make sure you don't comment on anyone else's comment. If I do see that you did comment twice, that would theoretically increase your chances of winning, so you will be disqualified. There's your fair warning. I will start the contest immediately and end the contest next Friday and announce a winner on Saturday. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.